All right, thank you.
Are we turned on?
We are.
Yep, we're all on, yep,
Yep.
those are going.
Okay.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the Zoning Commission regular meeting held on May 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in Brookfield Town Hall, Room 133. If you'd all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Let's see. I'd like to have the members of the commission introduce themselves, starting from my left.
Benicio Fontana, alternate.
Gwen Arment, member.
Anthony Papucci, Vice Chair.
Kurt Timmerman, chairman.
Phoebe Holmes, alternate.
We also have Laura Barkowski, our land use director, and Elizabeth Adams, our recording secretary. Tonight, we'll have Danny Fontano raised as a voting member for, it's in my mind, Sean Turner, and Phoebe Holmes for Matt Grimes until he calls in, if he's going to call in tonight.
Okay.
So, do we have a review of the correspondence? The minutes, there's no correspondence that I know, right?
I have not received any, but it does appear that Commissioner Grimes is trying to join us.
Okay. So once he's in, then you're out. Phoebe.
It's okay.
We'll wait a few minutes for him to join us.
He is muted.
And need to let the record note that Commissioner Grimes is attempting to join us via Zoom. And while we're waiting, does everybody review the minutes of the April 24th, 2025 meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
And do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, thank you, Tony. A second?
Second.
All right, thank you. And is any amendments or revisions that anybody found? No. All right. All in favor of the amended, approve of the minutes? Say
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Let the record show Matt made it on. Mr. Grimes made it on. All right. Next item is 4A, continued public hearings. 474 Candlewood Lake Road is actually tabled till our May 22nd meeting in 2025. All right, so the next one is 5A, 475 Federal Road Z-25-18, public hearing. I will read the script. All right, this is a regular meeting of the Brookfield Zoning Commission. At this point in our agenda, we have scheduled a public hearing concerning the application of Charles O. Lichtenauer of Chipman Manzuko Emerson LLC for Nilton Cahale of Giovanna LLC, 91 Main Street, Danbury, Connecticut 06810. Application Z-25-18 for special permit with design review application to add 4 one-bedroom apartments to the second floor of a commercial building. I'll have the members of the commission introduce themselves again, starting from my left.
Benicio Fontana.
Gwen Arment, member.
Anthony Papucci, Vice Chair.
Kurt Timmerman, chairman,
Phoebe Holmes, alternate.
and
Matt Grimes, Secretary.
thank you. So voting will be the 4 regular members plus Mr. Fontano tonight. We will open the public hearing by calling on the vice, actually, Matt, do you have the?
I don't have a public hearing notice. Could you have Andy do it?
Yes, I can. We'll have Mr. Papucci read the legal notice.
Legal notice, Brookfield Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at Town Hall, 100 Pocono Road, Room 133, at 7 p.m. on 5/8/2025 for the application for 475 Federal Road, Z-25-18, Charles O. Lichtenhouse of Chipman Mancuso Emerson LLC for Nilton Coho of Giovanna LLC, 91 Main Street, Danbury, Connecticut, 06810. This is a special permit with design review application to add 4 one-bedroom apartments to a second floor of a commercial building. At this hearing, interested parties may appear and be heard, and written communications received. All files will be available for inspection at Town Hall. Kurt Timmerman, Chairman.
Thank you, Tony. This application was formally received by the Commission on April 21st, 2025. The public hearing is only one aspect of the approval process and is for the purposes of accepting factual information and data bearing on this application and to allow expression of opinion by interested parties. Subsequent to the hearing, the Commission has 65 days in which to render a decision on the proposal. The final decision may be in the form of approved as submitted, approved with stipulations, or denied. After reading into the record the correspondence received by the Commission relative to the application, we will ask the applicant to present the application in detail. The presentation will be limited to 45 minutes. The Chair will then entertain questions of clarification concerning the applicant's presentation. We will hear from those who wish to speak in favor of the application, followed by those who are opposed. Comments must be limited to 5 minutes. Members of the public will be given one opportunity to speak during this segment of the hearing and may also submit their concerns in writing during the public hearing. During this segment, the commissioners may ask additional questions. The bylaws of the Commission only allow for the presentation of similar positions in succession and preclude the intermixture of comments pro or con. All questions and comments must be directed through the Chair. As you are recognized, please state your name and address so that your comments may be legally recorded. Please be assured that everyone will be given the opportunity to speak. However, the Commission is most interested in hearing factual information relative to the application, and in view of the time constraints placed upon us, we ask your indulgence in not reiterating comments previously presented. After the public comments are received, the applicant will have opportunity to comment, and the time will be limited to 10 minutes. Any questions on the instructions? Okay. Is there any, I don't know if there's any correspondence in the file here. I'll look. No. All right. So, if you'd like to present your application?
Sure.
Lichtenauer?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. My name is Charles Lichtenauer. I'm an attorney with Chipman Mizuko Emerson. Address is 44 Old Ridgebury Road in Danbury. I'm here tonight to present an application for a special permit for 4 second-floor apartment units at 475 Federal Road on behalf of Giovanna LLC. Its principal is Milton Coelho here, and our architect is Chris Busnell, I should say. Now, I have provided each of you a slide deck. I apologize, I was not able to email it, it was too large. So therefore, I would ask that you flip along with me, and starting on page 1, just to orient ourselves with the subject property, it is north of the Blasius car dealership, south of Moonstar Chinese Kitchen, and catty corner from the cemetery further northwest. The second page is an aerial view for better familiarization. And the third page is similar. It's a street view of the subject property, and the arrow is pointing to that second floor where we plan to convert commercial space for apartment units. On the next page, you will see the existing conditions on the first floor. We don't propose any changes to the first floor. There's some office space, a painting studio, and a martial arts studio, in addition to storage space, access to the basement, and utilities. Next page is the second floor plan. This is the plan as it exists today. It's an open floor concept office with 1 conference room, a bathroom, kitchenette, and a small storage closet. The next page is the existing elevations. We do not propose to change the existing elevations. So this, what you see, will be what you get. And then finally, on the next page, we have the proposed second floor layout. This would be 4 one-bedroom apartment units. I should note that the applicant did consider including 5, but based on both desire to meet market demand for large spacious apartments and also to accommodate easier traffic flow and some comments we received previously on this application, we decided to go with the 4 units. So there was some discussion previously, and I had some digging into the regulations to determine that this application is not bound by Article 3 of the zoning regulations, which regulate residential zones. Instead, we are bound by Article 4, which regulates commercial zones. So what we are seeking is a special permit under Section 42A 3E for second-floor residential units in the C2 zone. And I'm happy to get into a further analysis as to why Article 3 doesn't apply, but I'll leave it at that for now until questions
All
arise.
right, I'll comment on that after you're done.
Great, thank you. Next set of photos are of the subject premises from various locations on the property. I won't bore you with exactly the direction we're looking and where we're standing when we're taking those photos. I added those to the slides themselves, so I encourage you to flip through and familiarize yourself with the location. After flipping through the outdoor photographs of the application, you'll come to an indoor photograph. That's the first of a set of photographs of the subject second floor office space to be converted. This is what will be converted to residential use. And I should note that I discussed with our architect and we received comments from the fire marshal. We will be sprinklerizing that second floor with respect to the apartment units. So as you can see, this is all relatively open floor concept, and the following page after the photographs are what we could consider the meat and potatoes for the reasoning behind this application. Offices on the second floor at the moment are priced below market level. Raising the rent will likely cause the tenants to leave, leaving open office space, which may be difficult to fill in light of current circumstances. The property brings in just under $11,000 in rent, of which $7,000 about is overhead expense. So there's not much wiggle room for Giovanna LLC. If approval is granted for 4 apartments on the second floor, we're proposing, targeting $1,700 in rent per month each. We would be hovering at or below market value. I should note that 1-bedrooms now lease for, I'm seeing them $1,800 to anywhere to $2,500, $2,600 these days. The total monthly rent, you'll see that I corrected it in your packet. For the 4 apartments would be $6,800. You'll note that that's a significant increase over the $3,950 that the second floor generates currently. So it represents a modest increase in rent, but a meaningful one to this applicant. And as I said earlier, Giovanna LLC is looking strategically at the market, realizing that tenant space is not what it used to be, commercial tenant space that is. And it's hoping to make a change in accordance with market demands. So, of course, this is directly on Federal Road. So it is an arterial road with access for residents to amenities nearby and plenty of available driving space. Oak Meadows, I should note, just as a comparison in terms of neighborhood impact, this project, in my view, would be far less impactful. 4 residential units does not generate the kind of traffic that a large multifamily complex might or would. And so we believe this is a net positive for this site. Just turn to the parking requirements on the next page, where we show that While we currently need 12 spaces because we have about 3,300 square feet, you divide that by the 300 square foot measure, yielding 12 spaces. For residential apartment units, we need 1.5 spaces per dwelling unit. So 1.5 times 4 yields 6 spaces. We would be having the parking requirement for the second floor. There's a total of 32 parking spots on site, and I don't believe there are any issues with parking currently. Is that correct? Great. So as of right uses, and these I just give as an example for the uses that are permitted in this zone, that I will encourage this commission to opine on or to consider in relation to 4 apartment units. I believe that a bank or financial institution, perhaps a fast food restaurant with a drive-through, a gymnasium, medical offices, these things are the type of things that generate typically more traffic than 4 one-bedroom apartment units. And with that, I was hoping to make it short and sweet, and I would thank you very much for your time, and also open it up to questions of myself, Chris, and Milton. Your pleasure.
All right, thank you, Attorney.
Thank you.
He referenced the use table, and I did talk with the town attorney regarding the use table on this, because there was some question when they came in front of us for an informal, trying to understand just how it should be regarded. And in the commercial, industrial, and industrial districts under 4.2, section 4.2 permitted uses, the permitted uses table with dwellings, they had a couple different things here. Under 3, dwellings and residential care, they had B, multifamily dwellings, which was, you had to meet the requirements of 3.14. And then also E, residential dwelling on floors other than the first floor in a mixed-use building. Looking at we discussed this, we looked at the site, and one of the questions was, is E also required to adhere to section 3.14? And the town attorney said, opined that no, his opinion was it does not. That said, we should probably, this is, when we're going to look at regulation changes, we should make our intent more clear and clarify the language. But in this case, this is an existing building that is there, and we used to have a caretaker use, which was people living in a commercial building to take care of it. And this is similar to that, where the outside of the building is not being changed. So that's the reference there. The applicant's attorney mentioned about this being a commercial versus residential, but I actually asked about a separate thing that is actually 3E use, not 3B, and not required to adhere to 314. Still a special permit, because we still want to see it in front of us to see how it changes or doesn't change the neighborhood. But that was the gist of it. So let me ask you a question. Fire marshal, you had the fire marshal looked at it and everything looked okay. Do we have a sign-off sheet for any of this yet?
Any kind of permit that they'd have to do would have to have the fire marshal sign off. So when they did the conversion over,
Yes.
the fire marshal would absolutely be reviewing it.
Okay. So, fire marshal, is there any other, like police or anybody else you went to?
We did not go out to the fire marshal. We did not go out to the police department. It was part of the online application system where the fire marshal had
Would
comments
put
on the
comments,
application.
all right.
Yes.
Now, the other thing is sewer. I mean, because this is now a change of use, and any CEO is going to be have to have a sewer change, I guess. You already have a connection.
Right. We have a sewer connection, and I believe we have a well. Chris, do you have any commentary on updates or changes to that sewer connection?
No, I don't.
My only question would be, you would have a different use profile, you know, a commercial versus 4 more apartments there. I doubt it'll be that much, but I guess you're gonna have to go to them to make sure that you can still discharge sewer with 4 or more apartments rather than a commercial space.
Certainly, we'll be going to every appropriate agency after a hopeful approval and get all the permits needed to be in compliance with all of the town's regulations. My opinion is that sewer use might mirror traffic. The number of people on site for the office use, I believe, is typically more than what would be present for 4 apartment units, but you're very much correct that we could have a 1-bedroom with 2 occupants, and each one of those 1 bedrooms has 2 occupants, and
Yeah.
that might change things. So yes, that is something that we will look at.
All right, because they have their formulas, so.
Sure.
Maybe it doesn't make a difference, but, all right, any questions from the rest of the commission?
Does the calculations, I know we're talking about the main structure, but in the photos, there's and I thought last time you guys were here, there's a off to the back building. That's also an apartment, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So is that, I mean, I know that's a separate entity, but is that actually factoring into the calculations to, again, what
Like
we're
for
talking about?
parking or something, or?
Parking
Sewer,
and
sewer.
sewer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sewer.
I am not sure. I believe that the way that we analyzed this project was the impact specifically with respect to the second floor and how the second floor use would be changing. So no, that didn't come into play. But as Mr. Chairman raised earlier, I think that it would likely come up in post-application review with the various agencies with respect to sewer use, parking, et cetera.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's a showstopper. I just wanted to know
Oh.
if that actually factored into the calculations.
just to clarify for the commission, this is a larger building, this is only the the back half of this building, it's kinda got 2 parts to it. So, when we look at the drawings, we're looking at the back half of the building. All right, any other questions from the commission?
I do.
Gwen?
2 questions. What are they? The means of egress, am I looking at hallways? Is that what I'm looking between the apartments?
Yes, please. If I would allow our architect to respond.
Thank you.
Good evening. Chris Busnell, BBS Design, I'm the project manager.
Address, please?
17 Buckboard Lane, New Milford, Connecticut. So to answer your question, there's a main hallway that we created that's going to be fire rated and has access to all the 4 new units that we propose. There's currently the stairwell that's there that's also going to be fire rated, and that's going to be one means of egress. And then there's the hallway we're creating in the back. If you see, correct. That's the secondary means of egress. By code, with apartments, we're supposed to have 2 means of egress. So, and they have to be remote. So the building itself actually exists like that, where the 2 stairwells are already remote. So the design lends itself very well to having the 2 means of egress on the remote sides of it. And the hallway connects everything. But everything will be fire rated. The hallways, the corridors, the stairwell, and also by code, because there are apartments, we have to put sprinklers in for the apartments. So we're gonna have fire rating and sprinklers and the means of egress covered per code with no problem. We actually have more than enough egress for what's required for 4 units.
I have one more question. What's the square footage of each apartment?
It's roughly around 675 square feet. So they're really nice size for 1 bedroom. We've done a lot of apartment design, and that seems to be the sweet spot for the 1 bedroom, like a really good size, 675 to 700. So very nice size.
Any other commissioners?
I have a question. I remember the project from the informals, so it's great. I'm glad you went with the 4 instead of the 5. Mr. Lichtenauer mentioned that you'd like to try to rent these for $1,700 a month, but that market value is between $1,800 and $2,600. That's kind of like the low end. Will it be low end finishes inside, or what types of materials do you plan to use?
Not
or
necessarily
is those
low, but not
low-end
necessarily.
apartments? Are these like really affordable, or are they?
No, Mr. Coelho doesn't really do like low stuff, so it's gonna be good quality, nice finishes, not over the top, but,
Okay, but you do intend to rent them for the low end pricing of less than
I
market
can't
value?
speak to the value, but, maybe Mr. Coelho can, but as far as on our end, for like with the design and the specs that we're gonna provide for the drawings, we tend to call for good to average, material quality and, finishes and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's not gonna be like cardboard.
So more like laminates than like quartz or granites, or like, like-
Yeah, we're probably not gonna do
that type of
granite,
thing.
but, we're not gonna do,
I'm just trying to think of the type of renter that will be
Yeah.
attracted to
Yes.
this.
So I think Mr. Coelho could probably talk to that a little more.
Hi.
Would you mind, I didn't catch your name, can you?
Sure,
spell for
Chris
us?
Busnell, Busnel.
Thanks.
Of course. Thank you.
Kirk, could I ask something, please?
Sure.
Council, when he was up at the podium a second ago, touched about the sprinkler system. Are there gonna be firewalls between the apartments?
So they're not technically firewalls, they're tenant separated, fire rated walls, yes. So minimum requirement is half hour, but, the way we're gonna design it, it's actually gonna be 1 hour.
Okay.
Oh, speaking about fire rating, you mentioned sprinklers. What's going to be the water source for your sprinkler system?
I'm sorry?
The water source for the sprinkler system?
I believe we have, community water and,
No, we have now city water.
city. Yeah.
Oh, so they have city water. Okay, you have,
We have no city water.
Oh, no city
you
water?
don't. So you
So
don't
we
have
have-
aquarium.
We're gonna provide city water.
So,
So is the intent is to provide, hook up to the water system going
yes,
down?
because
Federal
for
Road?
a sprinkler system, you need at least a 1 inch diameter,
Yeah,
main to
Yeah.
come in to service the system.
sure.
So,
It's either that or a fire tank.
yeah. So whatever we need to do in order to achieve the requirement for a sprinkler, we will, absolutely do so.
Okay. All right.
I have another.
Oh, sure, Gwen.
Are the stoves electric?
Yes.
And what is the heating system?
We haven't decided yet. I really think we're gonna probably do, either heat pumps or, we're still trying to figure out what's gonna be most efficient, most energy efficient, and that doesn't take up a lot of room, plus we don't overwhelm the building with,
Does the Eversource gas line run right by there?
I believe so, yes.
So why not heat it that way?
We could, again, we have not made a final decision on which heating and cooling system we're gonna use, but we're gonna consider whatever available options we have and make an educated decision on, obviously, energy efficiency and cost.
Okay.
And placement of it, because if we do certain, type of system, then you need condensers and you need handlers and they take up more room and yada, 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 yada.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Is there a basement?
no. This is slab on grade on the first floor for the, commercial space, and then this is directly above, separated already with fire rating in the ceiling.
Are there any more questions from the commission? Any questions from the audience of clarification only? All right. Anything more to say about the,
I think I pretty much covered everything on the architectural side of it. Again, we're not changing the footprint of the building. We're not adding. We're not diminishing. We're not changing the outside. Everything is in place. The stairwells are there. Again, we're going to have to go through every single department to obtain the necessary approvals and permits.
Mhm.
So obviously fire marshal, building department, zoning, health, everything. So sewer and everything else that we discussed here. So, this is pending our hopeful approval, and, we will address everything that needs to be, addressed with every single department. The plan's obviously gonna be finished for, permits, construction and all that.
Mhm.
But, yeah, as far as the architectural, again, we feel really good about the design since we're not really impacting the outside of the building at all. And we're working with the spaces that are there. It works out very well for egress, for fire ratings, for everything that's required for this type of project. So, I think we really pulled off a pretty good, layout considering what
I
we're
have a
working with.
question with
Yes.
the windows. So you're adding windows to the apartments to?
We're not adding windows because the windows are already there. So what we are doing is we are reusing the windows that are there. The only thing that might change are the height of the windows to make them egress compliant from a bedroom.
So you're changing them then?
Changing just the height, not the width or the location. That's the other thing that we worked around, is using all the existing windows.
Mhm.
So, but,
All right, thank you.
all right, thank you very much.
Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of the application? Seeing nobody, anybody who'd like to speak in opposition? All right, so, anybody would like to, any more, comment or questions? Otherwise, we could, accept a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt.
Do we wanna talk about the moratorium at all, or we're,
Oh, this is not, that doesn't apply.
okay,
Yeah.
and,
Thank you for the second, Tony, because that's only in the 3 zones up here.
good,
Yeah.
so we're,
All right, all in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
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 Okay, is unanimous. Deliberations? Actually, I think this is a sort of small project to add this sort of housing and not too expensive to, have people be able to live in town, like, students or not students, young adults who are wanna go.
Or snowbirds.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
it does seem like that type of place,
Yeah.
and
Right.
it's needed.
Right.
yeah,
So-
and it doesn't impact the outside, you wouldn't know it's there, and the number of apartments is small, it's
Right.
just 4.
I really don't see a problem with it, nor do I see a basis to deny this application, really.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Agree.
Yeah, it was impactful, that portion he included of what could be here, and
Yes.
think about all those options,
Yeah.
and this looks like a sweet spot, so.
And it would be, yeah, it
They
would,
get all the approvals, then
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
and it would be empty, and, commercial space is hard to fill, especially the older stuff. If it's brand new, Class A stuff, yeah, people wanna move into that, retrofitting an old space to put.
I grew up in a situation like this.
Bert, I did have one question, because I don't have my diagram in front of me. If we were to approve this change, are we required to have another ADA accessible parking space on the premises that exists today?
The parking, let's see, cause the parking regs.
ADA is normally dictated by building code.
Yeah,
I know that, but I mean, I just with us converting the top floor, I just wondered if that might require us.
yeah, so when they go to, change that, then they would have to,
Because I didn't notice any changes to that on the diagram, so I don't have it in front of me, I
no,
apologize.
it would, in fact, since there's fewer parking required, that I would say that they would already have enough ADA, considering that there'd be fewer ADA required with a lower parking.
Good enough, yeah, no.
It's also gotta walk up those stairs.
well, I was gonna say, but
You gotta walk up the stairs.
Yeah.
getting to the
There's
second
no
floor.
elevator.
Right, getting
Yeah.
to the second floor is gonna dictate what it is.
Yeah, plus, the width is set for, wheelchairs and stuff like that, standard width. All right, I'd take a motion to approve.
I move.
Thank you, Gwen.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Tony. Any more discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, are you unanimous? All right, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Make sure I don't put,
Good night.
You too, take care.
all right, next thing on the agenda,
Take care, guys.
old business, 6A, 16 Old New Milford Road, Z-25-20. If you'd like to step up to the podium and talk about your site plan, and then afterwards I'll give the history.
Kenneth Hubbard,
Yeah.
16 Old New Milford Road, Brookfield.
Mhm.
My purpose here is to request a 6-month extension on my existing permit for the temporary hoop houses.
All right, and so this property is next to the Landmark Building up on Old New Milford Road. The Landmark Building has a bunch of dentists and doctors and everything in it.
It's all glass.
Yes. The reason I know about it is because when I go to my dentist points out the property next door. This property originally, you had renovated that house in the front.
Correct.
And at that time, which I forget what the year was, it was quite a number of years ago, you asked to have some of these tents and stuff and the materials on site so you could finish the renovation, after which you were supposed to remove it.
Correct.
Which was, I think we gave you a year at that time.
Yeah.
So, the tents, the temporary tents, and there's an excavator back there too,
A backhoe.
a backhoe.
It's on-site use only. So it's,
Well, on-site use of an excavator, unless it was in the garage, I'm not sure.
We do have several people who have excavators in town,
Oh,
actually.
just to move the snow. All right,
yeah,
so,
because I saw the pictures and
yeah,
I recall the
yeah.
issues rather clearly.
So, the issue was that we'd like those tents removed.
Yes.
Of
And-
course, you need somewhere to put the stuff in the tents.
And I'd like to have the tents removed as well.
Okay,
And if I can just explain for one moment.
Sure.
That property during the 50s and 60s was a building supply company.
Mhm.
And it was prior to me taking ownership, it had sat completely neglected for 35 years. Not only it holding all of the materials and equipment from that business, it was named the Huckleberry Hill Building Supply Company. And I couldn't find any records on it, unfortunately. But in any event, so during the process, I inherited thousands of pounds of equipment from the country, from the company, and the materials. And I've been diligently spending an immense amount of time trying to give the stuff away. And I haven't given, it's been years now, and I still haven't been able to give all the stuff away. But it's winding down, and it's becoming to the point where I pretty much have probably about 75% of the stuff given away.
Mhm.
And I just have a couple more items, and I basically just put if I can't get rid of everything by July, then it's just going to have to go to the dump or recycle
Scrap or
or
something.
wherever
Yeah.
as a last resort. But I'm exercising every one of my options to try to find a good home for all
Mhm.
this stuff that I inherited, which is a full-time job in itself, never mind renovating, the 206-year-old house.
Yeah, well, you did a great job on that.
Thank you.
It looks good. All right, well, that's good to hear that you have been doing something in the intervening years, or trying to, so.
If you go on Facebook, I have 36 ads in Facebook.
Yeah, what are you giving away? Anything good?
Phoebe, you have a barn, right?
Look
go,
on
Phoebe.
Facebook.
Oh, gosh. No, I don't need any stuff. Thank you, though.
But
There's a new
building,
self-storage place open.
I saw that, but anyways, but have, tons and tons of materials and equipment and,
All right.
And like I said, about 75% of it is gone. And then once,
Is it working? Is it like usable stuff?
yeah,
All of it, it's like
yeah, I just,
fine,
and,
it's not?
yeah, and last week I gave away a 12-inch industrial planer which it probably weighed about 850 pounds. That's the, you know, heavy-duty industrial equipment, but nobody wants it.
Yeah.
You know, I tried to sell it, you know, for $150 scrap value, and and even giving it away was like pulling teeth. And when he came with a trailer, so I gave him the planer, a big gigantic industrial joiner, which was, you know, that's about 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And you know, and I just kept, oh, do you want this? And do you want that? And then
Please.
subsequently loaded up his trailer with stuff. And everybody that comes, you know,
Don't tell us where we live so we don't have to get him in here. You know, the maker space in Danbury, maybe they'll want some of that, because they have a maker space at that old Sheraton.
the makerspace.
Yeah.
What is that?
Sheraton, the old Sheraton Hotel on the exit 2. I forget the developer, but they have micro apartments there and a makerspace.
What's a makerspace?
A makerspace is somewhere where they have lots of equipment to make stuff, including 3D printers, but also, you know, metalworking and all. So people can go in there and make stuff. You know, what they can't have
That's
space.
cool.
in-
It's
that's
basically,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
That's
common,
cool.
common equipment for,
Yeah, it's a workshop.
People,
for-
yeah.
for rent.
I never
I wish I knew,
written this down.
you know, I would
Oh.
have approached them.
Yeah.
You know, I even contacted Black & Decker because I have all these vintage aluminum tools, you know, saws and drills and sanders, and they weren't interested.
Yeah.
You know, I've exercised, you know, I've gone way, way beyond the call of duty to try to, you know, find good homes for all this stuff, because it just tears me up to just, you know, take it to the
Yeah, sure.
metal guy.
did you try the museum up in Kent?
Yes,
Okay.
that was the first.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
first
because
people.
that's, that would be the one that I would
And they
assume.
were like, no, we have no room for stuff.
Well, that's the other side.
Yeah. The other thing is, and my dentist mentioned it, that said, if he hadn't taken those trees down, I would have never cared. I know.
But you know did you ever see that site prior to me clearing it out?
Well, if the trees were covering it, no.
It's basic. I've never seen, to give you a perfect idea, I didn't know that there was a paved driveway there. I went in with a shovel. I was like, dink, 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 dink. I was like, it still goes. It was covered in a foot of leaves and vines from the bittersweet and poison ivy. I mean, it was basically like walking through the forest, but there was actually a driveway.
Yeah.
over there. And that was the only spot where there weren't any trees.
Ah, yeah.
But it was all just, and I'm still battling bittersweet and poison ivy, bittersweet root, you know, vines
Yeah.
that are at this diameter. And it just, you know, basically destroyed most of the trees. And I tried to save as many as I could.
Yeah.
I basically cut them and then keep pulling the vines out of them, and hopefully they'll recover. A couple black walnuts and maples. And, but it was weeds. 35 plus years, weeds turn into trees. If they were pretty, you know, I kept all the, you know, the healthy, good, you know, all the good trees.
Yeah.
But it just was such a mess.
All right. So 6 months from today would be November 8th. Did I get that right? Because it's May 8th.
And
Sounds right.
and you know, cautiously optimistic. You know, I'm hoping to have them down before then.
We can always have you back.
Yeah.
So I'll take a motion to approve this application for a period of 6 months from today's date.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll second.
Thank you,
Oh.
Tony.
Or Gwen. Jump to Gwen.
Okay.
Any discussion on the motion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Unanimous? All right, great.
Thank you. And you know, I wish the dentist would have approached me. I don't even, if he was walking down the street, I have no idea what he would look like. He could have come up to me, you know, because I was parking the backhoe sort of over in
Yeah.
his direction where he took all his pictures.
No.
And, you know, all he had to do was like, come out, hey, you
Yeah.
know, so-and-so. And
Sometimes people are shy,
I'm, you know,
non-confrontational, except, you know, through official channels.
because I'm not confrontational.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
I try to be the best. I get along with all my neighbors except for
The dentist?
I won't mention her name.
Well, I can report back to him that, you know, you are working on it, so.
Yeah, and it's just me, so.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not an easy task. Don't ever, unless you're a multi-millionaire or billionaire, don't ever restore an old house. It's just,
Like a car.
yeah,
Not for the
He's
faint of
right.
heart.
Yeah,
He's
it's not for the
right.
faint of heart.
no. That's it.
Yep, that's it, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys have a great night.
You too.
There's no new business, we have no tabled items. Commissioner comments? And anything?
Where's Bill Buckby? Did he ever?
Oh, because
to
they didn't push it forward to, the bill to the next round. Whatever they do up there in
Okay,
the
so
legislative.
it's done for us.
It's done for
We're-
this year,
Okay,
yeah.
so we're not
Yeah.
gonna be hearing from him.
No, we are. So,
Just to comment on that first application, since I'm a builder, to pressurize all those sprinkler heads he's gonna have, this really needs a water tower to get the pressure.
well, he's gonna have public water.
He didn't say that.
No, they said they have to.
They have to.
They don't have it right now, but they have to.
They're bringing a public.
They're going to
Yeah.
have to tie into there is a water line up Federal Road.
Oh, okay,
They're
so
just
it's
not tied
into
to it yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to how they're going to get heat and hot water.
That's,
It's up to them, I
Yeah.
know, but
yeah, I guess they're looking at it
They-
too. I mean, heat pumps are more efficient than gas, but gas is probably smaller than heat pumps. You don't have to worry about condensers, yeah.
Electricity's the easiest, but
Except if you need a
Expensive.
bigger,
You have to pay-
a
well-
bigger
Expensive.
transformer or
no,
something.
but for the renters,
it's expensive.
that's an expensive.
No, it's cheaper. Heat pumps are cheaper.
Yeah,
No,
pump.
heat pumps, but not electric. If they put electric heat in,
No, that's what he's talking, heat pump electric heat.
oh,
Heat
okay.
pump heat.
oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's cheaper than gas,
Yes,
but bigger. Yeah. So, you don't need, even with heat pumps though, even with gas, I would think you need air handlers. Yeah, so,
How do they heat downstairs?
I have no idea. It'd be,
does he set down?
Yeah, oh, I understand that.
I
but
bet the
how
same
do
thing.
they?
Oh,
Yeah.
what
Yeah, we never found out.
I
Yeah.
We
didn't
never
ask.
Didn't
figured
ask.
that out, yeah.
And
It is a moot point.
Oh,
Right.
sure, we're just curious. We're just curious.
It's like the voice of God. We forgot he was there. He's-
Yeah, but he's not on camera now, so,
Yeah.
you don't have the 20 or 40-inch head.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but he's.
I want to thank my colleagues for accommodating me tonight. I'm actually down in Springfield, Virginia. My brother-in-law in the United States Army, he's doing his last Black Hawk flight tomorrow, so that's what we're down here for. So,
Great.
So speaking of being remote, it actually is, Public Act 22-3 requires you to allow commission members to.
Oh,
and I appreciate the
Sorry
accommodation.
about that
yeah,
last
thank
time.
you very much.
So the next time Gwen produces a show in London, we expect her to be zooming in from there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, with all the dancers behind her.
That would be exciting, the most exciting zoning meeting yet, if Gwen does that.
She's got to wake up about 5 hours early for it, but that's all right.
All right, well.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Oh, thank you. Tony, Gwen, great. All in favor?
Bye.
All right, the meeting has adjourned at 7:48.